impeachment, I mean, what happened yesterday with the vote on Secretary Mayorkas? Why bring that to the floor if you didn't have the votes? And will you hold another vote to impeach him?
Yeah, on impeachment, last night was a setback, but democracy is messy. We live in a time of divided government. We have a razor-thin margin here, and every vote counts. Sometimes when you're counting votes and people show up when they're not expected to be in the building, it changes the equation. But listen, we have a duty and a responsibility to take care of this issue. We have to hold the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security accountable. Mayorkas needs to be held accountable. The Biden administration needs to be held accountable, and we will pass those articles of impeachment. We'll do it on the next round.
So they're going to try for a number 2, for the love. I think if you're going to run and try to do it again, make sure that you don't lose 4 votes. You can't lose 4 votes. Look, Johnson's a nice guy, but this isn't about nice guys. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch here with you. Always good to be with you, bottom of this first hour. And it's not about nice guys. It's about this. There's a specific job that's got to get done. Can you do it? That's what this is about. And he doesn't have a lot of political capital. The Republican leadership is an absolute flippin' mess. It is a mess right now. We had 2 huge losses that shouldn't have been losses in the span of 1 hour last night. That's not to say anything about the state of the finances of the party. They got $8 million cash on hand. You know how much Biden and Democrats have? $293 million. $8 million cash on hand. I'm not joking. It was a lot of the reporting from Jen Van Laar that we had on last week? Yeah. That talked about the state of RNC finances. This matters because they're the ones who do a lot of the national strategy, but they've been completely rudderless as of late, which is interesting now that after that reporting that came out from Red State, now, excuse me, it looks like the Ronna McDaniel is going to be stepping down. They had the chief of staff, RNC chief of staff, who stepped down. That announcement came yesterday. Now it looks like Ronna McDaniel is going to resign after the South Carolina primary. The New York Times reported this last night. I was hearing this from people before the New York Times story. And I'm like, I'm going to wait and see, because this also could be like a move to try to push her out. But she apparently said she's stepping down shortly after the South Carolina primary. And apparently they said that it might be Michael Whatley as the interim replacement of the North Carolina Republican Party. Trump picked Ronna McDaniel and backed her hardcore to get the seat. He's backing Michael Whatley, although he can't just pick somebody. They have to have an election for the speaker. Look, I'm going to tell you, I've known Trump for over 10 years. I like him personally. I think he makes some very questionable choices when it comes to personnel. And you guys know this is right. I don't care how much you love him. I don't care if you got his face tattooed on your backside, a la Roger Stone. I don't care. Some of his personnel questions leave a lot to be desired. And so the RNC's disastrous spending, the absence of any kind of national strategy. So they're doing this. This is happening in an election year. The head of the RNC is stepping down. The party's been kind of rudderless. There's no top-down strategy. Previously, say what you will about a lot of these cats, but at least they were getting everybody on the same page when it came to pushing for narratives about the border or about funding for Ukraine, etc. At least they would mostly get on the same page. But now it's a mess. Everybody's out for themselves. They're all looking for everything. Democrats are staying together like the Borg. Who did they wheel in? They wheeled in what's his face? I have the story. They wheeled in the dude last night. He apparently had surgery to go and vote. Oh, Al Green. Yeah, Al Green literally had surgery. They wheeled him in from his hospital bed, still wearing his tan medical socks and scrubs, to vote. Wheeled him in. He's got a ponytail. They wheeled him in. They are serious. Democrats did that because they're serious about winning. It's not enough to have an ideology. It's not enough to have the product. You got to have the marketing and the distribution for the product. Republicans always forget this part. They're like, well, here's our product. It's freedom. Freedom's great. Love freedom. Lower taxes? Yeah. Who doesn't love lower taxes, right? Limited government for most of them? Yeah. Who doesn't love that? But then they throw it out there and they're like, okay, here it is. Bye. Then they don't tell you nothing about it. They don't message it. They don't push it. Democrats are out there. My gosh, they act like it's a new Taylor Swift album. When they come out with something, they're out there all over the place with this. And they're all in step. Now, that is not a difference of alpha and beta, because I do think that some of the difficulties that the right experiences come down to the types of people and personalities that are attracted. You just got more people who like to be Han Solo than not. But this is about discipline and just being smart. I mean, strategy is smart. That's something smart people do. The moment they went out there and they're like, we're right before election kicks off, we're going to switch out our Speaker of the House. We have no replacement at all. None. Oh my gosh, all these people bootlicking Matt Gaetz were so mad at me. Oh yeah, I said it. But they were mad at me. And I'm like, I don't care about Kevin McCarthy. I'm worried about the timing of this. Now you see why. They had a rush to find a replacement. A guy who wasn't ready. And again, I'm not saying this to be mean about Mike Johnson. I know some of y'all out there like him. I'm not being mean about it. But we got to be honest about these things. So Ronna McDaniel's stepping down. Matt Gaetz has suggested Kevin McCarthy. I think he's still on a vengeance tour. He's mad that the history between Gaetz and McCarthy is that there's an ethics investigation still ongoing into Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz had demanded that Kevin McCarthy stop it. Kevin McCarthy declined, and so Matt Gaetz went on the rampage against him. That's what happened. That's why all of this stuff happened the way it did, because Matt Gaetz accused Kevin McCarthy of not stopping the ethics investigation, held him responsible, and was out for blood. That's why this happened. That's the whole reason why this happened. And so now we have this mess. And then in the RNC. So she's stepping down. Kevin McCarthy was suggested by Gaetz last night as a possible replacement. I mean, it wouldn't be bad, but I just don't think that's I don't think that's it. I don't think that's I just don't know if that's the way to go. Because he can fundraise, and that's a huge part of it. You got to be out. You got to be out to fundraise. You gotta you got to be able to go and do this, and then twist arms and all that stuff. I mean, McCarthy, that wouldn't be a huge stretch for him, but Whatley got endorsed already for co-chair, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes, because they got to have that vote for that replacement.